This is Brett Sheedy, founder and president of Strategic Tax and Accounting. This clip is about how to use our annual tax organizer and questionnaire. Let's take a look at that. So this is our annual tax season organizer and questionnaire. You'll receive it on a tax season email each year. It is also available on our website. This is a summarized tax organizer. We try and make it as short and straightforward as possible and make it apply to as many people as possible. You can also fill this out through a questionnaire format on our secure client portal. We encourage people to use the secure client portal. It's the most secure way to get us the information and the most efficient way to get us your information. However, you can use this form by printing it out and filling it out by hand, or you can use it as a fillable PDF version like we're doing on this demonstration. You can always get this form on our website as well. We need all clients to fill out the sections that are highlighted, whether you're using PDF or printing it out and filling it out, so be aware of that. At a minimum, we need the highlighted sections filled out. This should only take about 5 or 10 minutes for returning clients. We already have all your biographical information. For first-time clients, it may take a little longer. We need to get all your biographical information, your driver's license information, dates of birth. Some of that is included in your prior year tax return you gave us, but usually not all of it. And we want to make sure that it hasn't changed since the last return you filed or that the prior tax preparer entered it incorrectly. So therefore, please do provide all the information. You only have to do it the first time. This process will go much faster for you if you have all your information together, you and your spouses and your dependents, Social Security numbers, dates of birth, driver's licenses for you or your spouse, Social Security number, contact information. Also, you'll need to have your bank account information available where you want any direct deposit refunds or any drafts of payments due. And if you have an IRS identity protection PIN, please obtain that. It'll make it faster if you already have that when you're filling this out. And your itemized deductions, have that information together. When you finally submit this form, you're going to need to submit it with all your attached tax documents that you got in the mail or that you get paperlessly. Also, any other summaries that may be required for any small business you own, rental houses, farms, and so forth. If a section doesn't apply to you, you can move on. So for instance, if you don't recognize what a form is, let's say for a 529 plan for a college education or an IRA contribution, if you don't have that, just move on. If you do utilize those accounts, you're probably going to know what they are and you'll know to attach the form. If you have any questions or need assistance, of course, we're always here to help. We don't use chat boxes. We don't use chat bots or AI. We're humans and we're here to answer the phone. We can also answer emails to the tax box at your particular office. And we're here if you want to come in and visit with us during business hours to talk to your actual tax preparer. You should make an appointment. But if it's just an administrative question in particular, questions about these forms, you can always just stop by or call our office. For returning clients that we've done in our software, we can produce very detailed organizers that list all the information you gave us last year by number and dollar amount so that you can compare and make sure that you have the same information to provide this year. You'll have to request that. It is kind of a very long and overwhelming document that we don't want to send to everyone, but you can always request it and we'll provide it to you, whether by paper to pick up or by email or by your secure portal. So on the form itself, you're going to fill out the taxpayer client's name first, and then the cell phone number and the person who's to be contacted. If you're single, obviously that's you. If you're a married couple, though, usually one person within the couple is the tax matters person, and you would list them and their cell phone number here to be sure we're contacting the right person. You're going to check these are all check boxes. These are fairly straightforward questions. Which office are you new or are you returning? You're going to pick your tax preparer. If you don't have one that you have been working with or you prefer, you're just going to mark first available. That's going to be the fastest turnaround time. All of our preparers are well trained, credentialed, and experienced, and they can always pass a tax return up if they have any questions. So don't hesitate to choose first available. Um, as is noted here, if you ask for me to take your tax return, it's probably going to be the slowest turnaround. I would love to be able to look at everyone's tax return and talk to every client. But with our growth, we just can't do that. But we do provide training and credentialing for all our tax preparers. They can all handle your tax return. If they have questions, they can bring it to me. You can also ask to have a planning meeting with me at any time. Or if you want to do in advance, of course, it's called tax planning, not tax after the fact. And so you can always schedule outside of the tax filing rush season to have advanced tax planning, retirement planning, education, funding and planning, estate planning meetings with me. I love to talk to clients and help them find ways to sleep better at night or save tax money by planning for the future. But I don't do all the tax returns, so you may have me prepare it, but it will maybe take the longest and it may have additional fees. The next section, you're going to tell us how you are going to interact with us. Of course, again, we suggest the secure client portal. However, whatever way makes you most comfortable, you can do it that way. This indicates if you're a returning client and nothing has changed, you can simply initial this box and you can skip the rest of page 1. So if only one thing has changed, for instance, you added a dependent, you only need to fill out what has changed. You don't need to fill out everything again, just what's changed. Again, if you're a new client, we would like you to fill all this information out to make sure that what we received from the prior year tax return is correct and that nothing's changed since it was filed. But if you're returning, you can initial here or just fill out the thing that did change. The rest of this page 2, you should fill out if you have dependents with childcare, if you have alimony, if you had estimated tax payments. If you didn't, you'll just indicate you didn't. If you did and you made all 4 that were on the vouchers, you just say, yes, I did that. You only need to fill this section out if you made payments that were not on the payment vouchers on your prior year tax return, or you made them in different amounts. Something new this year is that refunds will not be sent by check. You must provide a direct deposit account. There are some exceptions to that for people who live out of the country or people who cannot get a bank account, but they say that it will dramatically delay your refund. So you should really just provide a direct deposit account. Most people do. We need that information here. But if you've been getting a check, just be aware that that's no longer available. That's an IRS change, not something that we've changed. So have your direct deposit account information ready to enter in here, say whether it's a checking account or savings account. Also, if you want to have any tax drafted out of that same account, you would say same account as above. For drafting of taxes due, you would indicate that it's ACH draft and then whether it's the same account or fill out a new account. You don't have to have it drafted. While they will not send checks this year, you can send them a check or you can pay it online. If you're going to do that, you indicate this here. If you do say that you will have it ACH drafted, you don't have to worry about there being an unexpected or mystery draft from your account. It will not be drafted unless you return to us a signed e-file signature form saying that the tax return can be filed after you get your email summarizing your tax return results and any refund or taxes due. So you will know at that time, and when you give us the form, you'll know that that means you're authorizing the draft. Also, if you authorize the draft, it will not be drafted to April 15th, even if you finish your return in February. So they won't draft it until April 15th unless you tell us an earlier date that you wanted it drafted. Okay, moving on. Next is on itemized deductions and other deductions. If you don't think you qualify for that, or if you know you don't qualify to take itemized and you're going to take the standard for both federal and state, you're going to mark this box and you can skip this page. Now, a lot of people do qualify for state. If you're unsure, you could look at last year's tax return, or you could call us and ask us if it looks like you will qualify if everything's similar. If you have any doubt, I would suggest that you mark this box and you fill out what you know, and we'll let you know if you qualify to itemize or standard, and we will ask you some additional questions if we think you're missing anything that would increase your refund. But if you don't want to gather this information because you know that you're not going to itemize, you're going to standard deduction, then you can mark this box. And these are just your same itemized deductions you've been providing for years for your taxes. Please be aware there is one new one, which is the interest on a vehicle purchased in 2025. And that information will be listed here, your interest paid and the VIN number of the vehicle that you purchased in 2025 or after. This section, please be aware of other personal miscellaneous about uniform shoes. This is only if you're a W-2 employee or a K-1 partner and had unreimbursed expenses. This is not for a small business owner or rental property or farm. That is for a different form exists for that. This is only for itemized deductions. It's called other itemized deductions. It's only deductible on the state since 2017, and it's only for employees and K-1 partners. That's all this section is for, unreimbursed for employees and partners, not for small businesses, farms, or rentals. That's a different form you can find on our website. So this is tax forms, and you're not going to put any dollar amounts on this. You're only going to put how many of the form that you received and you're sending us and who it came from. The reason we want you to tell us the number and who it came from is because a lot of people, whether they're providing the information in paper by dropping a folder off or uploading it into their portal, sometimes something doesn't transfer in the portal the way they thought. They thought they uploaded and they didn't, or they thought they put something in their folder, but they left it sitting on a desk or on the kitchen table. So please tell us how many forms you're going to have for whether it be wages or whether it be investment earnings or whether retirement, whatever it is. Write the number of them and who it came from so that we can confirm that we received what you think you transmitted or dropped off. Also, if you don't have a form, you can just put, for a category, you can just put NA here. If you have additional income from 1099s, such as self-employed income, rental income, farm income on Schedule C, E, or F, don't put that information on here. There's another form on our website for those schedules that you can download and fill out or request, and we can email or mail it to you. So if you do have those, if you have that income, but you're not going to claim any expenses, for instance, somebody gets a 1099 for doing something that they have no expenses or other activity for, you can click here saying, I have it, but I'm not giving you the form. Or you can click here and say, I have it, and I'm going to attach the form that has my other expenses. And finally, it asks, is there any other income or expenses that we didn't ask you about above? And you're going to put yes here and attach any of the documents. You may also include notes about that on the next page here for additional notes on income and deductions. You can also ask questions down here if there's something you want your preparer to include in the response email or call you about while you're working on your return. The next thing is payment of our fees. So you're going to indicate how you're going to pay it. The only way you can pay by cash or check is if you are coming to pick up your tax return in person and sign it. Otherwise, please provide an ACH draft or credit card information. And then finally, you're going to mark the box saying that you have attached everything and have all complete information submitted, so we should start your return. If you're only providing partial with this form to get your file started and you know you're missing a couple things, please mark this and initial here. And then it's important that you notify us when you believe you are done collecting and providing information. We have people who provide one thing at a time, and we're happy to put it in their file and hold that for them. However, if they don't tell us that's the last thing and start my return, it's going to sit in the holding for more information box until the end of the year, the end of the tax season, when you call in April and say, why don't I have my tax return? I've given you everything. We indicate on your file when we received each item, so we'll see that we got something in February and something in March, but we're not going to know that we should start that tax return unless you tell us that you have provided everything. Please don't tell us you provide everything when you know you haven't, because there's nothing more time consuming than starting a return and then having to put it down and contact the client, ask them for something like a W-2 that we both knew that would be in there. And then when they give it to us, you can't really remember where you left off in the review process and you just have to start over. It's like doing your tax return twice. So please indicate to us when you're ready for us to start preparing your tax return. As far as finding this form on the internet, it's going to be on our website. You can find it right here under tax organizers and videos. So the annual tax organizers, this is the one we just went over. Again, if you had a self-employed business, that's here for Schedule C, rental properties. You can always on these and the separate business returns, if you're used to giving it to us in a summarization, maybe it's financials out of QuickBooks, maybe it's you just on a ledger sheet putting your income and expenses. However you want to get that to us, that is clear is fine, but we provide organizers for each one of those to hopefully help you organize your thoughts and tell you what you can deduct. So it's always helpful, even if you're going to do it in your own format, you might want to take a look at these to give some guidance. Okay, thank you for watching this video. We hope that it was helpful in describing how to use our form to turn in your information. I look forward to working with you. Thank you.